Thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this quick X Factor tutorial. I get a lot of questions on Twitter about what this report does and why it might be helpful to players. So hopefully I can address a couple of those different questions here on the tutorial. So as you'll notice, we have about 5 different columns here. We have our player name, pretty standard, different DraftKings salaries for the particular slate that we're covering. This happens to be April 24th of 2015. FanDuel also has their respective salaries. These are actually, a little tip here, these are actually in order and they decrease. So Felix Hernandez is the most expensive, decreases in order as it goes down here. This is what we call our FanDuel adjusted column. So we're basically adjusting our FanDuel salary to match that to DraftKings to make a apples to apples comparison of the two. We also have our DraftKings adjusted column as well to again compare to FanDuel if they were all the same pricing, if they had the same scoring and same pricing, salary pricing. Basically, Felix Hernandez should be the same exact price on both sites based on our adjustments. So we're really just looking to find opportunities in the different salary pricings of FanDuel and DraftKings and trying to analyze a couple of those different pricing mismatches. So here we go. Let's start off with our pitchers here, and pitchers are weighted differently than hitters, so that's already included in our calculation. But for example, on this particular slate, Shane Green is pretty highly priced on FanDuel. He's a lot less priced on DraftKings, and even after we make the adjustments, you can see that he's pretty significantly undervalued here on DraftKings. Now, just this information alone doesn't mean that Shane Green is a must play, but it definitely means we should consider looking at Shane Green as a possible play as we analyze the matchup, the ballpark factor, and of course the Vegas totals that are out there. So it kind of helps identify some plays. Again, doesn't mean they're must plays. For example, Rick Porcello is probably not going to be a must play for us, but at least it gives us some opportunities out there for some guaranteed prize pool tournaments or larger prize pool tournaments to analyze some different players that maybe some people aren't considering. Let's go down to our hitters here. DraftKings this year has started pricing their salary cap very interestingly. It's been a topic of heated debate on DFS players everywhere, but basically what they're starting to do is really jack up hitters' prices that are in good hitter environments and also significantly lower them in tough ballparks to hit in. For the most part. They also take a little bit of the pitching matchup into consideration, I believe, in their pricing algorithm, whereas FanDuel really doesn't do that too much. FanDuel's pricing really changes a lot more slowly and is less dynamic than DraftKings. So I think that the X Factor actually identifies some pretty good plays based on those two differences. For example, we see Nelson Cruz and Jose Bautista here down in price or significantly undervalued on DraftKings compared to FanDuel. So FanDuel has them priced at 5,100 and 5,000. DraftKings has them priced at 4,500 and 4,400. Now, probably this is because the Nelson Cruz and Jose Bautista are playing in tough ballparks, so DraftKings price them down. However, they might be in play if they have a really good pitching matchup or a higher total than they normally do. So again, we're just looking for some mismatches in pricing. We'll get down to especially a game in Coors Field I know is happening here. It's the Giants and the Rockies at Coors. And you can see Carlos Gonzalez here, $3,500 on FanDuel, $4,700 on DraftKings. So you can see they're taking Coors Field and they're really jacking up the price here. But FanDuel has not taken this into account at the moment. So his Carlos Gonzalez's pricing is significantly down on FanDuel, and therefore you get a discount here on FanDuel as opposed to DraftKings. So maybe Carlos Gonzalez would be in play in Coors. Another great example of this is Brandon Belt. Most of the time, Giants hitters are going to be priced down on DraftKings, especially since they play at AT&T. Here, he's playing in Coors, so again, they jack up the price significantly. FanDuel does not take this into consideration. That leads to him, Brandon Belt, being significantly overvalued. At DraftKings, that doesn't necessarily mean you should not play him here, but he is a much better play on FanDuel as opposed to DraftKings if you want to play him. So you can see as we go through this report, you can find these different mismatches in different salaries as we continue to go down, and hopefully this can help you identify some value plays across both sites for your cash games, but also to get some lower owned plays in some GPP tournaments where people aren't necessarily considering some of these plays just based on pricing alone. So I hope that helps explain what we do with our X Factor report, and thank you for taking the time. Thank you for taking the time out of your day